biggest party is all new this year. It's racing, music, camping, and a huge Saturday night finale. See your dirt car racing heroes battle wheel to wheel all week for a chance at glory. Get your tickets at superdirtweek.com or call 844-DIRT-TICKS. The 52nd running of Super Dirt Week, October 7th through the 12th. Be there.
UTKW HD2 Bridgeport, ESPN Radio. This is the Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick BMW, and Burdick Lexus postgame show, presented by One Group and Holbrook Heating and Air Conditioning. Call in now on the Tom and Ellie DWITom.com hotline, 315-437-7644.
Oh, man, they make you sweat it out this year, do they not? Yes, sir. It was a win for Syracuse football tonight. Woo, boy, they made us wait there a little moment. It was a game that both felt like a blowout in the making and insanely nerve-wracking all the same. But Syracuse takes it tonight down in Raleigh, a league road win. Can't turn your nose up at that. Syracuse beats NC State 24-17 here on this late Saturday evening. We'll be with you here for the next hour. Brian Higgins with you. As you heard the phone number. It remains 315-437-7644. Give a ring. Join in throughout the hour. We'll try to get you some Fran Brown sound, either from his post-game press conference or his post-game conversation with Matt Park, as to be heard shortly over on TK99 on the Syracuse Sports Network broadcast. One way or another, before we're done with it tonight, we'll get you a little Fran Brown in our lives this evening. But, oh, man, that one, there was a lot going on in that game, was there not? I don't even know where to begin. It was a game that it felt like Syracuse was both completely in control of and in desperate peril down the stretch, which, woo, how many times have we said that? Also, upon further review, it's the second quarter again. Upon further review, what was the previous play? How many ridiculous reviews were there to like what is going on? I've watched a lot of football in my days, like a lot, as I'm sure all of you have. And then, replay, then they do replays and come out with stuff. You're like, what? How? Forced him out of bounds. So that was a new one. All right. But Syracuse hangs on and wins it. It's another big day for Kyle McCord. What was McCord's final numbers? 346-2. Completes 74% of his passes. The Orange, total yardage actually ended up close to even. Go figure. It only outgained him by 13 yards in the ballgame. That severely tightened up at one point just prior to halftime. Syracuse is actually doubling up NC State. For a team that does not run the ball a whole lot, Syracuse's time of possession advantage the last two games has been wild. 36 to 23 minutes. There's just a lot about this team. It's a fascinating watch, this football team. We're watching and I think so much of it goes back to this combination of first-time head coach who is really, and we can see it in certain circumstances, like right before the half when maybe punting has been a grease fire, going for it on 3rd and 17 after calling a timeout instead of just letting the half end. But if that learning on the job stuff is the price to pay for all the good stuff, the toughness, the relentlessness, the recruiting, the Kyle McCord of it all that Fran Brown has brought here in year one, yeah, I think that's a trade you're going to make. Like you're making that trade every time, right? Like there's some wonky stuff. Like sometimes it just looks like mass chaos down on that sideline. It's like, what is going on? Like before the half on the sideline, Fran's throwing headsets, assistants yelling at just pandemonium on the sideline. But when push comes to shove, this team makes some plays. And here they are. 5-1, setting up in a week and a half, in 12 days from now. I mean, this is the biggest Cuse Pitt game that I can recall. Pitt is 6-0 and Syracuse is 5-1. Pitt will be ranked. Syracuse has a decent shot. Depending, I mean, I can't guarantee it, but if not ranked, they'll be close come that Thursday night in 2 weeks in Pittsburgh. We look at the last, I mean, really, you look at this entire history of the Syracuse-Pitt series over the last 40 years or so. Syracuse had a crazy long win streak, late 80s through most of the 90s. I forget what it was. They won like 15 in a row or 13 out of 15 or whatever, and then it completely flipped on its head right around 01-02, and it basically did the same thing but the opposite. Like, there have not been times recently where both teams have been up. It's usually been one or the other. This is a massive Thursday night matchup coming up in 12 days between Syracuse and Pittsburgh. We'll get to that in due time. So we'll get your calls here throughout the show today at 315-437-7644. Man, it's just another crazy game. McCord fantastic again with 346. Jackson Meeks fantastic again with a $116 and a touchdown catch. Trevor Pena sure looked like he was concussed on that targeting call that, for whatever reason, Tom Luganbill kept trying to tell us on the TV broadcast he wasn't sure why it was a targeting call. The crown of the helmet went into Jackson Meeks, or went into Trevor Pena's temple. Like, if that's not targeting, then what is? We had some, like, kick a field goal, don't kick a field goal, like, what's going on with all this stuff? Rondé Gadsden, another solid night, 6 for 74. He had it going early. LeQuint, yet again, over 100 total yards. He ends up at 119 combined, rushing and receiving with yet another touchdown in this game. We saw the return of the Dan Villari run game. How about that? We haven't seen that broken out at all this year. That was kind of fun for a moment. We saw a lot of stuff. Defense forcing 3 turnovers, leading to all 3 touchdowns of the game, plus 21 points off turnovers in the game, which now, as we see the final score being 24-17, ends up being the difference in this one. Man, there was a lot there was a lot going on in this ball game for sure today. There was a lot going on in this ball game for sure. But phone lines are open and available at 315-437-7644. We want to get in as many calls as we can throughout our time together today and get you some Fran Brown before we're done with our hour. Let's start with Sam in Pittsburgh. Hey, Sam, thanks for calling in.
Brian, so excited about what's going on here. I'm a 93 alum. My son just started as a freshman playing in the marching band, and we're here in Pittsburgh laying and waiting, going to be wearing our orange from head to toe to blast them at Heinz Field next weekend, hopefully.
I like it, Sam. And man, I mean, for someone that's from Pittsburgh or you're in Pittsburgh and you're a Cuse person, I'm trying to remember. I don't recall, and we got 2 weeks to build this up here, I don't recall a Cuse-Pitt game that said more on the line at this time of the year in a really long time.
That's exactly right, and there's precious few, but there are always very valuable connections between the Cuse and Pittsburgh. We have Craig Wolfley, longtime Steelers superstar and color guy, who's from a Syracuse alum, and like I said, my son is just enjoying this, all the newness with Fran Brown and the whole team. It's just so exciting. I can't even begin to tell you how excited we are. So we're hoping to bring home a winner next week, and the team's doing great. Love Fran Brown, love the team, love all the great work you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam. And I'm glad. Hey, we'll have Sam in attendance at the Pitt game coming up a week from Thursday. So that's a cool little connection. I mean, hey, Syracuse and Pitt, they played every year going back to 1955, and both programs during that time have had great moments in history. Both programs during that time, we're going way back now, have won national championships. But very rarely in anything resembling recent times have both teams been, ranked, close to ranked, anything like that at the same time. Pitt's going to be ranked. They're 6-0. They escaped today. Against Cal. Cal's potential game-winning field goal scooted wide late after a bad snap and a tricky hold. Syracuse is 5-1. I don't know if they'll be ranked on Monday, but, as is every week, teams at the back end of the top 25 lose. Others creep up. There's another poll that will come out in a week before then. It's possible. It's possible. This will be a matchup of 2 ranked teams in Pittsburgh in 12 days' time on that Thursday night, which is going to be a fun one. All right, let's go back to the phones and bring in our guy Mark down in NYC. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Brian. Unbelievable win, huge win. Not going to state anything crazy here, but, I thought Jackson Meeks, with Zeed Haynes, going through what he's going through, Trevor getting hurt, Jackson Meeks has really, really just become such an unbelievable safety valve. I know he did have one touchdown. There was a touchdown drive that LeQuinn scored that really was Jackson Meeks the whole drive. And then, of course, that onside recovery kick. Jackson Meeks has really just risen into just such a star player. And on the defensive side, I think we just watched the best game Justin Barron had in a Syracuse uniform. He was really all over the field, just unbelievable. And then just last, small little tidbit, I thought, Dan Villari getting a few carries was a really interesting concept. Obviously, we lost Will Nixon for the year. It gives LeQuinn some rest, and it also just kind of built some confidence up for Dan Villari. I think he could be a really good asset go forward for the rest of the season. But great win, and thanks, Brian.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. And, I like a lot of those points there. I really like the Villari point for one, because I look back at last year. November was, what's the nice way to say this, what Syracuse's November was last year. Completely and totally messed up sideways and upside down. But Syracuse did win 2 games with a Dan Villari-based, wing T rushing attack. And both Nunzio Campanelli, who was the tight ends coach at the time and is the quarterback's coach now, and Michael Johnson, who is the tight ends coach now and the co-offensive coordinator to Jeff Nixon, both were here then. They saw it work. Now, I'm not saying take the ball out of Kyle McCord's hands, because that's both bonkers, the identity of this team and your best player. So, yeah, no. But the way they used Villari tonight, do it a couple times. That little Villari in motion turnaround QB sneak play on 3rd and 1. Ooh, I liked that play. I really liked that play. That was fun. And, Justin Barron's best career game. Certainly was involved in 2 of the 3 takeaways. And avoided the stupid penalties today. He was on the fringe a couple times. You could see him clicking in his brain, take a step back. Yeah, I thought Barron played. How many tackles did Barron have today? And it's going to be really interesting. If Marlowe's back next game, now he's been playing Marlowe Wax's position. What are they going to do? How are they going to, there's ways to work it. Barron had 8 tackles tonight, the fumble recovery and the interception. So that's a full night at the office for JB tonight. Phone line's open, 315-437-7644. To Mark's point, to Sam's point, this team is something to watch. And what did Mark say? Jackson Meeks. So, yeah, you don't have Zeed Haynes. Jackson and Zeed both came from Georgia. Zeed, redshirt freshman, big-time recruit, has had some personal or family issues or something and is away from the team right now. Then Trevor Payne has been a revelation this year. He's been fantastic. He left with, I'm not a doctor, but that certainly looked like a concussion that he suffered on the targeting penalty there early in the 4th quarter, and he'd been fantastic tonight up to that point. But, man, Meeks made some big plays today. And the touchdown catch, that was both really complicated and really simple all at the same time. It was just a little out route. It was just, how long was the touchdown? It was 4 yards, something like that. It was just a little out route. But how long was the 2 yards? It was a 2-yard touchdown pass. And he was, a yard into the end zone. So just a little out route. But he moved his body just a little bit. And the accuracy that McCord threw that ball, and he threw it to the outside, away from the defender, and Meeks shielded him off with his body, and a nice hands catch to secure it while he's getting surrounded. And that's the play that ends up being the points that secure your win. It was a heck of a play. It was a fantastic play. I mean, McCord made some really, really high-level throws tonight at various points throughout the game. He made some really high-level throws tonight throughout the game. And talk about, for a guy that's not a runner, we keep hearing about Little League Kyle. We kept hearing all last year, what was the talk out of Ohio State? I mean, get a little pressure on this guy, and he folds like a cheap house of cards. Is that the player we've watched this year? No, it's not. That's not the player I've watched this year. There was a few plays tonight. He's spinning out of trouble. He's shuffling in the pocket. He's getting to the outside, either to make a nice throw down the field. He had the long one. Was it to Gadsden down the field? And then either that or to throw the ball away, live another day. Yeah, he did take the sack before the half, but, man, he eluded pressure. How many sacks did he have? He was sacked twice today, but, man, he saved maybe 3 more himself at various points throughout the night. I thought his ability to deal with it. Mike McAllister in the chat saying he believes McCord is second in the country in Pro Football Focus rating against the blitz. His numbers last year at Ohio State were terrible against the blitz. My eye test and the actual numbers this year are all agreeing that at least for this year, whatever's leading it to happen that did not allow it to happen last year, he's been fantastic dealing with those pressure situations this year. All right, let's get one more call in before our first break together here on this late Saturday night, soon to be early Sunday morning. We'll bring in Rob in the queue. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Going well. What's on your mind?
Hey, first of all, I'm thrilled with the win. Am I allowed to have some constructive criticism after a win?
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
I think there's plenty to still work on, it looks like.
Watching Pitt this year, I think if we play the way we played today and against Stanford, I think Pitt's going to smoke us. First of all, the defensive side of the ball, I don't understand the rushing 3 guys pretty much every play. I think we blitzed them twice today, and both times we either had a sack or I'm not sure what happened again, but it was another positive defensive play. I don't understand this 3-man rush, letting the quarterback have all the time in the world, and the secondary I think is even weak. And we're lucky that we got, I don't want to say lucky, but the 3 turnovers were huge. If we don't have those 3 turnovers today, I don't think we win the ball game. So I think the defense has a lot to improve. And that's a good thing, though, right? I mean, we're winning these games. I don't think we're playing our best ball. And that's my stance from the defensive side. And special teams is just a disaster. Whether it's the officials or whatnot, we got to figure out don't kill yourselves on special teams. You could have put 11 guys on a knee there and let the guy kick a field goal, and we're fine. But we take a penalty, and they get the first touchdown. And I don't know who else was holding their breath on that last onside kick with the special teams. We missed another kick. I know he's a freshman kicker. They missed a kick also, so it kind of evens itself out. But still, we have so much room to improve on special teams. Offense was great. I think McCord, we're lucky to have him. I think he's spectacular. He's, exceeding expectations by far. You'd love to see us come with more points in the red zone. But what did you think? And coaching is another thing. I didn't understand what he was doing at the end of the first half. At least if you're going to run a play there, why are you punting? You can either run the play on 4th down and either throw a Hail Mary or try to get the yards for the first down and kick a last-second field goal. I just think we have so much in front of us, and it's these little things that just add up and add up and add up, and eventually it's going to bite us. It hasn't yet, but hey, let's hope we have 12 days to get ready for Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be a big game, and if we play like we do tonight, I don't think we're going to win. So we have a lot to improve. So I just want to, but I am thrilled with the win, just so you know. That's just my constructive criticism for tonight.
You know what, Rob? I actually had a lot of the same thoughts as you. The end of the first half, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, calling that timeout made 0 sense, especially considering the punt issues from last week, to put yourself in a position where you're like, can we act? What were there, 7-8 seconds? You're like, the play might not take this long. Now we got to punt it. That was terrifying. The onside kick was terrifying just because they gave up the one to Georgia Tech.
Can I ask you one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask the 4th down with a couple minutes left to go? Why wouldn't Fran just kick a field goal there and go up 13 as opposed to, it's 10. It's a 10-point game. You kick the field goal there late. You make him earn 2 touchdowns instead of a touchdown and a field goal, which it did come down to an onside kick, which they could have got. But if you just take the points there, just little stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's coaching. I mean, we do have a talented team. I just think we could be playing far better.
Yeah, I would have kicked the field goal on the second drive of the game, where they had made the 32-yard field goal. The second drive of the game, they went for it on, 4th and 5. It would have been, I think, a 38 or 39-yard field goal. I would have tried that one, then obviously we missed like the 41 or 42-yard of the next one. And, yeah, I think a lot of that is Fran just does not have confidence in the kicking game right now, so he thinks it's better to get him backed up, which I can half agree on, but then you give him a 70-yard play the next play, which completely wipes out any advantage you gain from it, because to your other point, Mark, like the secondary, I don't know what's going on between communications of layers of the defense, because the amount of times that they've either not passed off a receiver from corner to safety, or the corner and safety clearly were not running the same coverage, or I'm not even, it's hard to tell without knowing what they were supposed to be doing, but like what's leading to people wide open. Like CJ Bailey's a true freshman. Like he had a couple of passes on the first couple drives of the game that were really close to being big plays that he hit a few later in the game. But man, if he hit one of those on the first or second drive, we might be talking about a different ball game today, because those were open guys that he just missed.
I'm with you. I'm glad you saw that too, because that's what I was seeing. And the missed tackles, we got to work on that too. That 75-yard.
Yeah, I mean,
there's 5 missed tackles.
It should have been a 15-yard play, not 75.
Little stuff like that, we got to clean up to beat Pitt. Let's go Orange.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. Though I mean, I agree with you this too. That said, great win. So all these things, that's just kind of the way the season's going. But thank you for the call, Rob, here on this late night here on a Saturday. But I will say this about Pitt. I half agree with Rob's thoughts on Pitt there. Like, if you play like that, obviously it may be tougher than tonight. That said, I watched a decent chunk of the Pitt game today, and I watched Pitt and Cal play this gross game. Like, if Syracuse offense plays like they can, they're going to smush Pitt. So it's going to be another one of these wacky Syracuse games next week. No, not next week, the week after, I think, where just anything is possible. And that is where the Syracuse season has been so far this year. Is Fran Brown on the TV right now? What's going on? They said Fran Brown. We're eavesdropping on ACC Network. They said Fran Brown was coming up. I was going to take a break, but we can eavesdrop on Fran on ACC Network. Is he coming up now? When will then be now? Will it be soon? We're going to hang out here for 1 second. If we can eavesdrop on ACC Network's conversation with Fran Brown, I'm cool to eavesdrop with it if you guys are. Let's see. They said Fran was coming. Is he there? There's Fran. Let's listen to Fran on ACC Network.
They kept going down the field. I mean, I thought they did a really good job, though. That coach had those guys.
You guys hear this? Is this loud enough?
All the way till the last snap, honestly. Just take my hat off to him and his program and what he's done over the last 10 years. I hope that we're able to follow those same footsteps.
Coach, I'm like, are you just drained? I see you jumping around on the sideline. I know it's mentally taxing.
He was hitting the boys earlier in pregame warm-up.
I like playing. I mean, it's football. You get a chance to play and got to keep them energized. I think guys get on the sideline and they just want to stand and be stiff and think like, all right, cool. I'm not Tom Landry or Vince Lombardi, so I'm going to do what I like to do and be myself as long as I'm still following the man above. And I just know what it takes to keep these young men energized and wanting to play and wanting to be able to play for you also.
Yeah, well, you're doing that, and it's pretty easy to see. You guys were over 50% in your first, true ACC road game, your first game outside on the road in this type of environment. You also threw it for nearly 350 yards. What does that say about your quarterback, that he's able to manage the game so well and still be an electrifying player?
I mean, he's a leader. He's like one of the coaches. He's in the building just as much as the coaches. So when the ball's in his hands, I'm always comfortable. He knows how to make plays, knows the right things to do, especially when it's like a middleweight, or 2-minute things of that nature. I mean, when you look at it, I believe that college football is starting to get closer to how the NFL is. It's always coming down to the final couple drives of the game, and I'm happy that we have him at our helm because he makes it easy and more comfortable for a head football coach because we do it so much in practice.
How much easier has he made it for you year one as a head coach and helping you build the culture? Really
easy. Him and Fidel Diggs, Chestnut, Rondé, Gaddison, all of those guys, naturally just listen to everything I've done. I always told, as a man, all you have is your name and your word. And everything I tell them I'm going to do, I make sure I catch it out and go do it the right way, because if you slip up and not do that, then that's when they start to go opposite. But they push the culture. And I'm trying to make it their football team. We just got to learn how to stop losing. A lot of things that we've done towards the end of that game right there, it's still guys, we still got that losing mentality a little bit. We start turning around, talking to the fans. I was like, none of them are playing. Why are you doing those things? So it's those little things that I knew what would happen in the game, because in y'all head, I see y'all waving at them. And then now it's really not over. Let's not do that. So we still do a lot of stuff that we beat ourselves, and we just got to be able to fix that. And then I think our culture will be more ingrained, but it's about 80%. It's not completely the way it's supposed to be. And you can see that sometimes academically. I have too many guys late one day, and it's like, oh, now we're going to pay for this at practice. You got to go in class sometimes. You got to do it. So I know if you're not going to class, which don't require talent, the right way all the time, then why would you do the right thing on third down, or why would you stay deep in cover two when they start to scramble? Like, why would you? It don't require talent to do that. So I think it's a direct correlation. So I just always look at it that way.
Coach, coming into this game, we said that in order for you guys to have a successful day, obviously offense got to roll, but then start fast and get this crowd out of it too. I played here before. It's a loud environment. It's at night. You had 3 takeaways and also 17% on third down for NC State. That's really impressive. What's your message on a weekly basis to your defense?
We just go daily, and we got to get the ball. Guys, don't worry about the big play. What's the next play? Big play is going to happen. That's football. These guys are on scholarship. These guys are a really good football team. But what are you going to do the next play? And most guys can't respond, and they still got their head down. So I'm always like, I'll put them in a bad situation in practice on purpose, and then, okay, let's see what you do next play. God, coach, that was offsides. No, it wasn't. That was on them. And we do that to the defense a lot. So, sometimes they were able to still respond to the next play and get them all set with that. And you just got to put them in those situations, I believe, during practice, and it allows them to be able to help out during the game. And, one thing that we did have was we wanted to be able to empty the stands by the end of the fourth quarter. It was like you start to look at, when you go a place and it's packed. And I said, listen, guys, you guys don't understand this, but as it keeps going on, they're just going to start to leave. And they'll start to leave, and before you know it, it'll be all of your guys there. And, that's when you're becoming a good football team. So that was something. Now, when I played here a long time ago, it stayed packed the entire game.
They got us one night, too.
Oh, it beat the brakes off us when I was here.
Coach, you've shown a lot of humility in this new role as head coach. You mentioned quite often that you're always learning. And what have you learned lately? Anything new?
It's just really hard. Every day there's something new that can happen that I wasn't prepared for or I didn't understand. And I think we got a really good athletic director. So I'm able to just call him and talk to him. I told him, look, it's my first time being a head coach. You took a chance for me. We got to do this together. So I call him and I ask him questions. And then I've been fortunate enough to coach with Kirby Smart and Will Muschamp, and they are always there for me.
Right.
I text and call them all the time, and I take full advantage of that, of being able to do that and talking to Coach Bobo, just because they know how to win, and I just want to build a winning program and not just a one good football team.
Right.
And all Coach Smart told me last week when we did something, he was like, good win. Remember, nothing's bigger than the culture. And I was text him something. Yeah, I hear all that. Nothing's bigger than the culture.
Right.
And I just kept saying that all week in practice because that's what I heard him say and what I was thinking about. So I just kept telling them it's about the culture, guys. It's the culture. There's certain dudes we got a couple flags on some guys that I don't believe are completely bought into the freaking culture.
Right.
So that's why that flag came. Because we tell you to run off the field at practice and you're lazy behind jog. So then it comes
Speaking
to the
of flags, that kicking penalty, what was that all about? What did they say?
They said that he's told us we was over the center or we tapped him a little bit or something like that. And, whatever they say is always right because they only take the flag back, so it's obviously right. So I don't send nothing in Monday. Coach, I ain't got time for that. I ain't taking it back. So I'm if I send it in, they're going to be mad at me next week.
I was going to say, if you want to learn something, be nice to us.
I do. I'll be nice at first, and then when I don't get so many calls, it's just I ain't talking to you. I'll be telling them, I'm not talking to y'all no more. I ain't got time for y'all. I'm going to call it for them anyway. So it's funny. I think our official did a good job, especially the guys today. They really was teaching and talking to me. I tell them that though, look, I'm not gonna know all these rules and all the things you know. Y'all been coaching, doing this a long time. Right. Tell me, educate me on what I should do. Don't make me look stupid on TV. So I just tell them that.
Hey, Coach, we always talk about how you're such a player's coach, and one thing that they caught on camera today, Jackson Meeks, first of all, had an outstanding day, and I know he came to Syracuse. Big reason is because you're the coach. Your handshake that you guys have afterwards.
Oh, we shook. Oh, what? When we
you have, yeah, you got a whole.
Just certified striker. We like contact, so it's a certified striker.
You have handshakes with most of your guys?
Yeah, well, most of the players, the DBs, we got one. The special teams guys, I got one. Me and LeQuint got one. It's just different ones that you have with guys. Just because, throwing that Von. So here's right here.
Yeah, here you go.
There you go. I gotta wait because I know you're a former DB yourself. We see DBs all the time that do all this, and it'd be an incomplete pass. The ball be 5 yards over the receiver head, Coach. You believe?
Nah, you can't do that. So I don't like this when they do it, right? I just be like, yo, just real close, real subtly, just put the little seatbelt and keep it moving. Because when he catch it, you're not going to do that. Exactly. So, let's not do that. Let's just get back, act like you've been there. Third down, come to the sideline. You can do whatever dance you want. But don't try not to do that. I'm trying to keep it away from it.
Coach, it was a pleasure having you on the ACC huddle in person for the first time after a win with your Syracuse Orange.
Because you guys don't bring the losing coach up, right?
No.
Oh.
I'm thankful to be up here, right?
So we hope and we know that there will be many more, Coach.
Yeah, God willing, let's just pray for us, all right?
Amen, Coach. We
Y'all
got to
be-
switch you out, though, because your quarterback's coming.
Oh, that's a good guy to have. See,
Yeah,
thank you
good.
for putting me up first.
Yeah.
Because he always, he's just too darn intelligent, and he always makes it look bad when I come up after him.
Right.
So, I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for you guys. I appreciate everything.
Yeah.
Y'all be safe.
We
Coach
appreciate
Rick.
you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Coach.
God bless you, man.
God bless you, too.
Two of the best in the biz.
All right, there he is, Fran Brown, courtesy of ACC Huddle, live just now on ACC Network. Oh, there's Kyle McCord. We know him. Maybe we'll listen to a little Kyle when we come back. Let's get our first break out of the way here today. Phone lines open when we come back. 315-437-7644, our DWITom.com hotline. When we return on the Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick Lexus, and Burdick BMW postgame show after this. Syracuse 24, NC State 17. 6-0 Pitt, 5-1 Cuse, 12 days out in the Steel City. What is up, chat? Yeah, Vito, I don't know what Devin Grant was doing on that play. I don't know what, 8 of the guys were doing on that play. But the strip sack he had earlier was nice. The officials were bad. They were bad about everything. They blew some calls in Syracuse's favor also. Missed some holdings, that illegal man downfield, or the illegal formation thing on NC State. I mean, I don't know. Yes, Pitt also does not play next Saturday, Orange Johanna. Yeah, that we'll see if we can. The ACC Network just went to commercial too. We'll see if we can eavesdrop on McCord when we come back. Yeah, that was a ridiculous call, Kev. It did allow me time to pop on the Labatt sign, which I had forgotten to do. So we're back in business now. He maybe lightly grazed his shoulder, but forced him out. It was that. Though, to Fran's point, I said this, whoever that was it Sparrow? Was he off the field? Was he not off the field in the 12th man? To Fran's point, he wasn't sprinting. I know he was tired. But to contradict Fran's point a little, Syracuse was subbing in Dean Lineman. NC State didn't sub. Well, they were allowed to go the second the ball was set. So Syracuse put themselves in a really stupid position there. Yes, Bixby, they have training. Oddly, it's for bartending. Welcome to the chat, boss fan. Yeah, the late one was weird, Vito. The second possession I found was weird. People tossing some bits. Thanks as always. Hey, there's Kyle McCord. Maybe we'll get a little bit when we get back here. Wes is my guy, Mike. Luganbill was... I don't know what Luganbill was talking about after the game. I'd go Dak, Vito. Detroit's pass defense is a little squirrely. Their run defense is excellent.
This is the Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick BMW, and Burdick Lexus postgame show, presented by One Group and Holbrook Heating and Air Conditioning. Call in now on the Tom and Ellie DWITom.com hotline, 315-437-7644.
All right, Brian Higgins back with you. Here are the numbers. Still plenty of time to get some calls in tonight. 315-437-7644. We heard from Fran earlier, presented by William Mattar. Hurt in the car, call William Mattar at 444-4444. ACC Huddle right now. Eric Macklin, friend of the show, and others, E.J. Manuel, Taylor Tannenbaum, Mark Richt, Eddie Royal are currently chatting with our friend and yours, Kyle McCord. Let's eavesdrop here for a little bit.
Kyle, for you, man, what's been your key for winning so many games? Because I'll even go back to last year when you were the starter at Ohio State. I think you just lost one in the regular season. This year, you've only lost one at this point. I mean, what goes into winning on a weekly basis?
I think that we do a lot of preparation, especially end of game, different types of scenarios, putting ourselves in 2-minute drives, 4-minute offense, stuff like that. So when the game's on the line, it's something that we've practiced a million times before, and I feel like all the guys are super comfortable when moments and situations like that pop up. And today I think we did a good job. We made it a little more interesting than it had to be, but at the end of the day, a win is a win.
Well, I wanted to ask you about the helmet communication, and obviously it's new this year. How do you like it? And are there times you say, hey, Coach, you're giving me too much?
Right.
I mean, do you get into those kind of conversations sometimes?
Yeah. I think that having it all throughout spring and then into fall camp certainly helped. And that way, Coach Nixon, who's the OC and on the headset, knows what is a good amount of information for me. Obviously, playing in my 4th year of college football, I've seen a lot. So some information is really great, and then sometimes I just want to just play football, and he's done a great job of balancing that, giving me what I need to know, but at the same time not putting too much information in my mind.
Kyle, looking at your head coach again, just every time I hear him speak, and every time it's with us and in person, just it seems like he's somebody you want to play for. Culture is so important. He seems so real, so upfront, and I know you guys have a great relationship, and his belief in you has been really special. Just take us off of the field. Take us into Coach Fran Brown's office or the facility. Who is he as a man?
He's just extremely down to earth, and if you were to be walking through our facility, you wouldn't know that he's the head coach just based on the way he acts. He's just, another one of the guys, really, and someone that you can go and talk to about anything with. And I don't know if people know it or not, but he meets with probably 20 players a week individually. Wow. Coach and I meet every single Tuesday for an hour and, talk about football, but most of the conversation is just about life. And so having a guy like that in your corner, I know I said it before, it just makes all the guys want to play extremely hard for him.
Kyle, is this what you envisioned when you came to Cuse?
Yeah, this is exactly what I envisioned. When Coach Fran sat in my living room, the day I got in the portal, this is exactly what he talked about. And he said, I'm going to give you the keys to the offense, the keys to the program, and we're going to build this thing up together. And obviously off to a hot start and need to continue to keep it rolling. But this is exactly what I thought this team could do and exactly what we are doing.
I got one more for you, Kyle. I've always felt like the running back is sometimes the best friend of the quarterback because he can get you out of jams in 3rd and short, and also he protects you in the backfield too. How good is LaQuint Allen?
I mean, I think that the first few weeks he was a little underappreciated just because I think his numbers weren't out of the world like they were last year, obviously. And then last week, I think people really saw what type of player he is. To score 4 touchdowns and at times just put the team on his back and will us to a win there in Vegas was huge. And, like you said, I think you never have to take him off the field. There's not a situation where I'm like, yeah, McQuint probably isn't the best option we have here. I mean, he's always on go. And last week, he was banged up, and he probably wouldn't know if he was hurt unless the trainers told him. He never stops, and his motor, I think, is really what keeps this offense going.
Real quick, what was it like playing outside?
Yeah, first one this year. Thank God the weather was nice. I mean, we didn't come here just with a little bit of a breeze.
That's funny.
We've been off to a good start with the weather.
That's good.
Well, congratulations. You're 5-1, and you've made it to another bye week. So you earned yourself a little bit of run.
All right, a little Kyle McCord, courtesy of ACC Huddle there, post-game. They're on site down in Raleigh on the ACC network. Maybe they'll get to come up to the Cuse later on this season now, the way the Orange are playing. Man, Syracuse and Pitt is in 12 days. Syracuse-Pitt's always interesting. It's always something. But it's usually very contained to Syracuse and Pitt, right? Syracuse and Pitt are playing on Thursday night, ESPN, national TV, 12 days out, with a combined record of 11-1. We're going to do some research here in the coming days. I don't recall a Cuse Pitt game with this kind of stakes in a long time. All right, we'll take a break. We'll get to the phones again when we come back at 315-437-7644. Still plenty of time to get your calls in here on this Saturday night. We're recapping Syracuse 24 and NC State 17. It's our Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick Lexus, and Burdick BMW postgame show here on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
This is Orange Nation.
I'm not as worried this year, though. I feel better about this team. I'm at a point where I think coaching and quality of player is improved. So
I would agree with that. I do
How's
think
the net
that
ranking,
talent
Vito?
across the board on this roster is better. I think they are better equipped for this, but you never like to lose key guys.
Yeah,
and, you're going to be down several key guys going into this game.
Orange Nation, noon to 2. ESPN Radio 97.7 and 100.1.
Hey there, Central New York. This is Dan, the owner of the Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus. Do you have something to celebrate? Whether it's a graduation, engagement, or just a weekend get-together for a big game, the Wildcat Sports Pub has you covered. We cater any event, offering a delicious spread including not just our pizza and award-winning wings, but salads, pastas, and full entrees. With us, your party will be a home run. Call us today at 315-487-2222 or swing by our location at 3680 Milton Ave in Camillus. Let's make your event unforgettable with the Wildcat Sports Pub. See you there.
Dedication and constantly striving for excellence. Those are the qualities of a winning team, and it's exactly what you'll find at Burdick Lexus. When you walk in the door at Burdick Lexus, you can feel confident that you're getting the best vehicle, the best service, and the best price. They're the place for L-certified vehicles, SUVs, sedans, all backed by the extended factory warranty, 160-point inspection, and new car rates. So visit Burdick Lexus in Cicero or BurdickLexus.com.
Just like football, Staff Leasing handles special teams play, HR, payroll, benefits, and 401k plans so you can focus on calling the right place for your business. Not an employment agency, Staff Leasing is a professional HR organization that can tackle all of your HR needs so you and your employees can stay in the game. Visit staffleasinghr.com to learn more.
Mike wants into the postgame show. We might be able to make that happen.
CNY's not-so-scary Halloween experience for the family is back. Walk through the bewitched woods at Long Branch Park in Liverpool. Every Thursday through Sunday in October from 5 to 9 p.m. The forest comes to life on the half-mile trail with theme sections, including the Skeleton Graveyard, the Pumpkin Patch, the Mummy Mansion, the Dinosaur Dungeon, and more. Tonight is Treats on the Trail night with Kenny Drugs. Bring the kids dressed up for trick-or-treating through the Wooded Walk. Special trick-or-treat bags are available for purchase online or at the event. Pack the car full of your little goblins. Admission is by the carload. Vehicle tickets can only be purchased in advance, so go to SpooktacularStroll.com for tickets and details. Upstate Golisano Children's Hospital's Spooktacular Stroll is presented by Upstate Honda Dealers. Get tickets today at SpooktacularStroll.com.
Yeah, I got Matt's interview with Fran. We'll get that to you in a little bit. Commercials still on? What am I doing? Sorry. Busy. Yeah, Barnes didn't play, did he? I didn't notice him out there. But yes, Mike, I may know people. I could arrange. Yeah, I don't recall seeing Barnes. That is a fact, Bogey Greg. That is a fact. It was a bit surprising. It sounded like he was going to be good to come back this week, but what can you do? He did have a target. It was a very wonky kind of target, but he did have one. No, you're trying to buy a watch party, Bixby. I see.
The Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick BMW, and Burdick Lexus postgame show, presented by One Group and Holbrook Heating and Air Conditioning. Call in now on the Tom and Ellie DWITom.com hotline, 315-437-7644.
All right, back out of here. Brian Higgins with you. Final score tonight, Syracuse 24 and NC State 17. Second ever win for the Orange down in Raleigh. It was a rocky road tonight, but the Orange led the whole way and are now 5-1 halfway through the first season of Fran Brown. All right, let's go back to the phones and bring in Steve in North Syracuse. Hey, Steve.
Yeah, I just looked it up, and the last time we played 3 straight road games and won all 3 road games was 1996.
Woo!
We beat Boston College 45-17, West Virginia 30-7, Tulane 31-7. In 2018, the 2018 team won its last 2 games of the regular season. Well, actually, I had that wrong. One of them was a loss. So we go back to 1996 in either case. We're going back to the last century to find when that did. Any day that Kyle McCord wins and Ohio State doesn't is a good day.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that we got a punt off, which is what Fran Brown was urging me to call in on the next show and discuss. I'm not sure how much of a rush NC State put on that one, but the good thing was that it was the only time we punted. Anytime we punt only once, I think we're probably going to win the game. It was interesting to see Fran Brown on the sidelines versus Dave Doran on the sidelines, because Brown was like a jumping jack running around all over the place shouting at people, and Doran was standing there with a 100-yard stare throughout the game. It's interesting how players would respond to that. Jackson Meeks has really become a star for the team, making great catches and catching that difficult onside kick. He's kind of stolen the thunder away from his fellow Georgia transfer, Zeed Haynes. I'm wondering if Zeed is even part of the team anymore because he's been away for so long. But Jackson has really come on, and I'm going to give a Dart Award to Brady Denneberg for making that tackle along the sidelines on a kickoff that he'd kicked.
He blew up that guy. I mean, Steve, he hit the crap out of him on that play. It was impressive.
Yeah.
All right, Steve. Thank you. Jackson's been excellent, and I'd say, Steve, 3 straight on the road, 96. The last time Syracuse has won consecutive games not in the Dome, it's been a decade. It's 2013. The last time they won 2 straight games not in the Dome. They won at Missouri, and then the next week they beat Temple in what. Or this would have been 2012, not 2013. The last year they were in the Big East at Missouri, that random game they had there, the Alec Lemon game, and then beat Temple the next week. And, so 1996, the last time they've won 3 true road games in a row. Opportunity awaits 12 days out in Pittsburgh. I mean, we only have to go back a year, right? When Syracuse had 3 road games in a row last year, and we saw when the schedule came out, and it was Carolina and Clemson and Florida State, whatever the order of that was, and it's like, uh-oh. And then it happened, and we hadn't even uh-oh'd enough because literally those 3 games went so haywire and everybody got so injured that Syracuse's coach didn't make it out of the rest of the season from those 3 road games in a row last year. Well, Syracuse had 3 road games in a row this year. All they've done is gone on the road in Fran Brown's first road game against a ranked team and won, and then gone on the road in his first road conference game and won in a building they'd only won once before. Now they need to go on the road to a building they've only won once in ever, I believe the number is, at whatever you want to call Heinz Field right now, since it opened a little more than 20 years ago. I think Syracuse has won literally just once in that building since Pitt moved there. Why not keep the current trend going? Why not keep the current trend going? Of all of that. That's a little Orange insight for you, powered by Staff Leasing. Let Staff Leasing handle the heavy lifting when it comes to HR and payroll so you can concentrate on scoring big in your industry. Visit staffleasinghr.com to learn more about how they can help your business stay in the game. A chance for a little in-season history for the Orange next week. Can Kyle McCord throw for a 7th straight 300-yard game? Can the Orange finally knock off Pitt, who's been a nemesis now for the last 2 decades? Will the Orange be ranked? Lots of questions, lots of intriguing questions to talk about over the course of the next 12 days as we look ahead to what was just kind of sitting there on the schedule before without much thought, and now has become a circled game, not just for Syracuse, not just for Pittsburgh. This is suddenly a big game in the entirety of the ACC. We'll tell you more about that. When we come back, we'll check in on Fran Brown's post-game conversation with Matt Park. More of your calls. We can fit them in on our DWITom.com hotline as well as we take our final break here. 315-437-7644. All that as we wrap it up here on a Saturday night after this. It's Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
This
It's a Thursday, Vito. So whoever is asking if game day can go there, it cannot because the game is on a Thursday. I'd say, Shane, if Syracuse wins out, it would be very peculiar if they did not make the ACC championship game. So that would be a thing. If there's somehow 11-0 Miami and 10-1 Syracuse, I could see game day perhaps showing up just because Ohio State, Michigan may not be quite as marquee this year with Michigan, and Auburn kind of stinks for Auburn, Alabama. But that is putting the cart so far before the horse, it's hard to even comprehend. Potentially, Devin, but there's a lot of other teams in the league that are winning games too. Like SMU's winning games. Clemson doesn't look like they're about to lose anytime soon. How many votes did Syracuse get in the poll last week? Hang on, Vito. My guess is no, but let's. Where was Syracuse in the poll last week? Syracuse was in 26th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 35th last week. 6 votes. I don't think enough teams lost for them to get in. They'll be close, though, and they might be able to move in during the bye week if a few more teams lose. I bet they'll end up being 2 or 3 spots on the outside. Like, I'm looking at the back end. Like, SMU had a bye week. I think Michigan had a bye week. Illinois won. Pitt won. That's the final 4 teams in the poll. Missouri was off, I think. Yeah, I would doubt it. Oh, it was literally only 2 people? Then yeah, no. SMU looked pretty good to me last week, Devin. I don't know. Well, Mayamo, I think the question is, why would he have any trust in the special teams right now after the last few weeks? It is fun, Orange Ohana. That is true, Mike. Yeah, Clemson and SMU don't play each other, right?
This is the Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick BMW, and Burdick Lexus postgame show presented by One Group and Holbrook Heating and Air Conditioning. Call in now on the Tom and Ellie DWITom.com hotline, 315-437-7644.
All right, rolling along here on our post-game show. Last few minutes with you. Still time for another call if you'd like at 315-437-7644. We'll take a brief look ahead at the Cuse-Pitt game. That is 12 days out. First, though, we heard a little bit of Fran on ACC Network in the ACC Huddle. Let's get a little bit more right now. This is Fran, as heard earlier on TK99. Part of the Syracuse Sports Network, his post-game visit with Matt Park.
All right, guys, with Coach Brown, we're actually walking across the field on his way to the ACC Network Huddle show. And, Coach, winning on the road is what makes the difference between good teams and great teams, and a lot of fun here, 2 in a row. What's the first reaction you have to getting this one here in Raleigh?
Just happy about it for our players, for our fans, all the fans that travel down, our community. Syracuse community deserves this, so just really thankful that we've been able to start off pretty good. You know, we got one loss, but just happy that we're able to start off pretty good to give our community something to be happy about and uplifted about and just talking about, you know? Sure. Like, we deserve it.
And they obviously are. You're halfway through the regular season here. 5-1, 2 road wins, back-to-back weeks. Hasn't happened in more than a decade. Turnovers were the key today. You had 3 takeaways, cashed in on all of them. How important was that? And is that the complimentary football that you've been talking about?
Yeah, it's the complimentary ball, but then we got to put them away when we had them set the way. They go down and score, then we go for it just because it's like, all right, there's no way you could go 97 yards. And it was a way they went 97 yards. So, well, we just got to fix some of those things up. I thought we gave up too many big plays, but we did complement each other. We were able to make some field goals. We were able to punt the ball without it getting blocked. So there was a lot of things we done that was I'm very thankful for.
Coach's dream, you win a game, you still have stuff to clean up. You've also got a little breather here with no game next Saturday. Kyle did it today. The idea of reintroducing Dan Villari and what he did, it looks like he got a different card up your sleeve every game.
Yeah, Dan Villari is a future NFL player, so we have to get him involved. Yeah. You got to get kids involved like that or they won't want to stay at the program. Dan Villari's done a really good job. He's done a good job before he's got here, and I think he'll always do a good job, and I'm just extremely thankful for him and really all the kids. I'm just happy for Syracuse University right now.
Well, you know they only ask the winning coaches to be on this show, so go enjoy it.
Well, earlier John Wildhack told me I better meet him up top afterwards, so I feel like it was a threat more than Nick's getting it done, so I had to come up here and get it done.
All right, mission accomplished. Safe travels home. That is Fran Brown, guys. Back upstairs to you.
All right, there is Matt with Fran, as heard earlier on TK99 on the Syracuse Sports Network broadcast. Last licks for calls if you'd like it at 315-437-7644 as we put the wraps on Syracuse and NC State from earlier tonight as Syracuse wins it 24-17. Just a really nice win is what it was for the Orange tonight. That was a really nice win for the Orange tonight. It was wacky, as Fran said there. You heard him there. You heard him on the ACC Network postgame show. There is stuff to be corrected. I still don't feel great about really anything involving special teams. The end of that first half was wonky. People running open in the secondary. But Syracuse goes into every game pretty much with the best quarterback, and, man, that really helps. Time now for improving the team by Wadham's Enterprises. Yeah, they only punted the once. They should have punted no times tonight. That was a peculiar end of the first half. Got to get that sorted. Got to button up special teams. You got 12 days now. It's a mini-bye, chance for a little extra work on some of that stuff. Marlo Wax, talking about improving the team. I don't know if it's likely, but it sounds like imminently possible that he can return for the next game. That would be a huge addition back into the defense and hopefully able to adjust around that. And getting him back in, you got to figure out what you're doing with Barron, so time to plan around all that going forward. But, man, this team, while having room for improvement, Fran's got room to grow as a head coach. They've been a lot of fun to watch so far. That's improving the team from Wadham's Enterprises. Wadham's is improving their team. They have home daily CDLA driving positions available for experienced drivers. They also offer CDLA training at no cost with a job waiting upon completion. Call recruiting today at 800-334-1314. That's 800-334-1314. 14. So hopefully Marlowe's back. Not next week, but the week after. As long as you got Kyle McCord, though, you're going to show up with a chance. Pitt had a wild game today. They beat Cal 17-15. Cal got into field goal range, like makeable field goal range. It was like a 41-42-yarder with right around 2 minutes left. Snap was a little high. Hold was a little wonky. The kicker, clearly bothered by it, missed it badly. And Pitt was able to hold on and survive and beat Cal coming out to the East 17-15 today. Pitt is undefeated. They're 6-0. I believe this is the latest they've been undefeated in the season since I think they won the title back with Tony Dorsett and that whole crew back in the 70s. I think this is the latest they've been undefeated in a season since then. Syracuse is 5-1, a play away from being undefeated. It's a Thursday night game coming up on November 24th in 12 days' time. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have full coverage for it. Coming up for you on Monday is the holiday. Orange Nation will still be here at noon. No Fran Brown press conference this week during the show. It is the bye week. Newhouse Afternoon will be here at 2. Cody Mack with the sports show will be here at 3. No me on Monday. Mets baseball at 4 in Game 2 of the NLCS. I'll be back with you on Tuesday. And then depending on the Mets schedule, we're going to play the week by ear because we will be bringing you all of the AL and NLCS games right in the World Series, of course, right here on ESPN Radio in Syracuse. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks for staying on with us late night here on this Saturday as Syracuse moves to 5-1 under first-year head coach Fran Brown and their star quarterback Kyle McCord. With that, have a good night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Enjoy the day off Monday. If you've got it, we'll talk with you throughout the week right here on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.